text messaging, blogging, social networking, podcasting, and video making, and others also. There are a number of new types of literacy which have emerged due to new technology. Now, National Education Policy 2019 aims to achieve 100% literacy. Now, how we can achieve 100% literacy? It is the role of our departments, that is lifelong learning and extension or adult education departments of different universities, to impart literacy to the illiterates. Then only we can motivate, we can achieve 100% literacy. Without our help, without the help of the Department of Adult Education or Department of Lifelong Learning, it is very difficult to achieve 100% literacy because there are poor people who are producing more children. So again, they are engaged in child labor or in other type of jobs. So they are not going to school, they are dropouts also. Like we see in our school, there are few students who do not want to come because they are children of rickshaw pullers, and most of the students, they have father who are alcoholic. So our teachers, we go to their family, we persuade them, we persuade them to join the school. So therefore, that way we can maintain our school's attendance very positive. Now, so Global Gender Gap Index shows the current state and evolution of gender parity across four key dimensions. That is economic participation and opportunity, educational attainment, health and survival, and political empowerment. It is the longest standing state index which tracks progress towards closing these gaps over time since its inception in 2006. Now, this year, the Global Gender Gap Index benchmarks 146 countries in the world, providing a basis for cross-country analysis. In 2022, the Global Gender Index has been closed by 68.1%. At the current rate, it will take 132 years to reach full parity. So in the world also, there are challenges which have to be met to come closer to the gender parity. Now, across 146 countries covered by 2022 index, the health and survival gender gap has closed by 95.8%, which is very good. So, as we know that worldwide health facilities have been increasing. Now, in India also, population of elderly is increasing due to increase or advancement of health facilities. Now, educational attainment by 94.4%, economic participation and opportunity by 60.3%, and political empowerment by 22%. Now, literacy is one of the most essential indicators of quality of a country's human capital. The high rates of illiteracy among Indian women and gender gap in literacy attainment are attributable to many social, economic, and cultural factors. The benefits of female education are public, including a more productive workforce, lower fertility, and lower infant mortality rate. Now, social restrictions on women's mobility prevent an educated women from entering the labor force. We see that many girls or women who have attained professional education, good professional education, but they are not allowed to join the workforce. So why? Because there are other social factors. Many people, many parents, they feel that their daughter should get married. They should daughter should not go to outer places, out of the city, because of certain other security risk factors. So this is also one reason for women not participating in productive sector. Now, the educational gender gap is not only a reflection of the low economic returns to female education, but is also a symptom of the gender biases that discourage the political women, potential women, and other deprived communities. Now, study shows that poverty as a cause of persistent illiteracy are wide and widening gender gap has been inflated. So, poverty to some extent is also responsible for illiteracy because for boys as well as for girls, those who are very poor, those who cannot afford to send their children to the school is one of the major factor for illiteracy. The World Bank highlights that the gender gap is affected more by social cultural factors and less by absolute poverty. So there are social cultural factors, there are taboos, there are values, there are deprivation, there are apprehensions which discourage male members or the boys to enter the school, to join the school or to continue their education. Because of poverty also some people withdraw. Sometimes the schools are far away from their residence area, so they cannot afford the transportation to send their children. Now, gender dimension of literacy. There are social economic factors which affect literacy. For example, age, caste, gender, income, rural urban background, etc. So we find disparity in terms of these social economic factors also, that these factors are all also responsible for lower rate of literacy among a particular sector. For example, gender and age dimension of literacy. So Tanushi Chandra has examined literacy landscape in India between 1987 and 2007, focusing on four age groups, that is children, youth, working age adults, and the elderly. She found that the gender gap in literacy has shrunk substantially for children and youth, but the gap for older adults and elderly has seen little improvement because the new generation or the present time people have become more conscious to send their children to school. Even girls have been sent to school. Girls have been promoted by the society to join the school. The state level analysis reveals the same trend in most Indian states. One of the policy measures to reduce gender bias against literacy is the National Education Policy 2019, which recommends setting up a gender inclusion fund to build the nation's capacity to provide quality and equitable education for all girls. If we want to map out the literacy rate in India and the progress which it has made during the past decades, is to examine the gender gap in different age groups, which will help understand the key challenges constraining a convergence between male and female literacy. Now, Chandra studied gender literacy gap for age groups 15 to 29, 25 to 65, and
Hello.
65 and above. Hello? Yes?
Please carry
Hello?
on, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
I will mute them.
Okay, sure. 25, 65 years and above, as per the standard age brackets studied by the UNESCO. In addition, a category of 6 to 14 years was also included, as Indian law established free and compulsory education for this age group as a fundamental right. So because of this law, most of the children are also attaining literacy and education. Now, literacy rate for children are the highest in the country across all age groups. This indicates a positive outcome of the government's initiative for inclusive development. Similarly, among Indian youth, gender gap in literacy has been shrinking. So, from the lowest age group to the higher age group, gender gap in literacy has been declining because of government's initiative and people's awareness, consciousness about their children's future and career. The literacy gender gap for 25 to 64 years and 65 years and above and are 20 and 30 respectively. So we see that as the age group is increasing, gender gap in literacy is also increasing. That means gender gap is less in lower age group and it is more in highest age group. Now, the illiteracy of older adults and the elderly is driving down the overall literacy map of India, because when we when we calculate average, extreme values are also included into that. The extreme values affect the average of a particular thing. Similarly, when elderly and the aged people are not educated, not literate, so they are more in number, that will impact that will affect the average of the literacy rate in India. If we exclude them, then literacy rate can be more as compared to the present. Now, second dimension is caste and illiteracy. We see that the Indian constitution has divided caste into three categories: general, SC/ST, and OBCs. So we find literacy difference, variations in literacy rate according to the caste also. So because scheduled castes were deprived since last many years, hundreds of years, so now because of reservation policy, because of government's initiative, scheduled castes are also gaining education and they are also attaining literacy, but still they are lagging far behind. Now, caste in India plays an important role in the access of opportunities. According to census 2011, total literacy rate for SCs is 66%. Among them, female literacy is 52.60%, which is less than Bihar, and male literacy is 72.60%. So we see that caste also plays an important role in achieving and acquiring different opportunities. Now, OBCs, if we see OBCs, then for OBCs, total literacy rate is 74%, in which male literacy is 82.10, which is very good, and female literacy is 65.46, which is not so good. Now, STs literacy rate is 58.96. Data for 2011 is not available for them, so that I can give you bifurcation of the male and female. While in 2001, female literacy was 32.44% and male literacy was 57.39%. So female literacy is still very low in among scheduled tribes, which has to be given priority or importance in giving them literacy. And total literacy is 45.02%. Now, on the basis of rural urban background, like other spheres of life, rural people lag behind the urban people in terms of literacy. So, in urban area, total literacy rate is 84.1%. Among them, female literacy is 79.92% and male literacy is 89.67%. Now, in rural areas, female literacy is 58.75%, whereas male literacy is 78.57%, and the total literacy is 67.8%. Now, there are various factors which affect literacy as well as occupation, employment, which again implies the education or the literacy rate of their children or their family members. So, I would like to give an example of this COVID-19. So, COVID-19 has significantly affected gender disparities. According to rapid gender assessments on socio-economic impacts of COVID-19 between March 2020 and March 2021, RGS were conducted in 52 countries. So, RGS focused on five areas: economic activities and resources, unpaid domestic and care work, then access to goods and services, then emotional and physical well-being, and relief measures. The surveys confirmed that women and men are experiencing the pandemic differently. There was a difference, there was a variation in, in the impact of pandemic on women and men in terms of all these factors which I have just said. So America and the Caribbean, there were 49% female who lost their job and 44% male. So there is a slight difference between men and women. The Asia and the Pacific, 28% female and 27% male. This is more or less the same. There is more gender parity in terms of loss of jobs due to pandemic, due to COVID-19. Now, Eastern and South Africa, 19% female and 14% male. There we see slight difference among women and men. So less men as compared to women lost their job due to pandemic. Then Europe and Central Asia, there is 100% gender parity because 14% female and 14% male, they lost their job due to pandemic. Now the Arab states, 11% female and 15% male, they lost their job. So here we see a positive bias towards women. There were less women who lost their job due to pandemic. There were more men as compared to women. Now West and Central Africa, there are more female as compared to male. 8% female and 5% male, they lost their job due to pandemic. So it affects differently whether women are more negatively affected or women are more positively affected. It's a different matter, but except East and South Africa, rest of the countries, they have experienced gender difference in terms of its impact. Now, global adult literacy rate by gender. There is a gender gap in the global literacy rate. Males are on an average more, that is 90% literate, than a little over 83% women, females in the world. Adult literacy is defined as the percentage of people aged 15 years and above who can both read and write with an understanding, a short, simple statement about their everyday life. So, these literacy enables a person to understand their environment, understand his or her environment, understand other people's perception, other people's thought, other people's behavior, so that they can adjust with them. Now, India's ranking globally. So there's a just short view of India's ranking in different aspects of life. So global gender gap index में India ranks 135 out of 40, 136 or 146 countries. Now political empowerment, India ranks 48, which is highest in Indian terms. Now economic participation and opportunity, India ranks 143. Then educational attainment, it ranks 107. And health and service survival, it ranks 146. This data has been taken from World Economic Forum. So this is India's situation in terms of gender parity or literacy in different sections of society, different parts of society, different states of society, and how we can address this problem. So the best way to address this problem is to encourage departments of lifelong learning and adult education of different universities so that they can take the initiative to literate the people, and there can be chain reaction. Those who are made literate or those who are educated people, they should be given some incentive, some type of incentive to make other people illiterate, because we have vast majority of illiterate people in rural areas, in slums, in poor sections of society. So this is the task of our departments or the universities to fill this void. Thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Umadevi. I think you're here. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank
Thank
you,
you
ma'am.
very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your fastidious presentation. And you have covered all the literacy statuses of the globe and the need for shifting to the digital literacy at the both at community level and at higher education level, and gender equality, health issues attached to the gender, and a need for literacy to address these issues, and the problems of women in their professions, and security issues of women, role of economies in gender equality, and political issues attached with it, and the impact of pandemic, which is curbing the gender equality issues, and all these things you have mentioned. And thank you so much for your very nice presentation, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to join you in this wonderful, because it is a global international literacy day. So I have to cover international scenario also into my lecture. Thank you very much.
I will be indebted to you if you share this presentation to me, ma'am.
Actually, I tell you, I'm in Netherlands, so I don't
Probably
have
you might have presented in a extempo matter. I know that, but the issues you have covered, you please send it to me so that I will record it in a report.
Sure, I'll type it and send it to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Or
otherwise, if you send it to me in writing form also, I will do that. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Now, this is the time for the second resource person, Professor L. Raja. And as he is, 1 minute, please. Raja. Actually, Professor Raja is in a marriage ceremony of his cousin. So he asked me to make a phone call to him before starting his session. So I'd like to I will introduce him to you, and before he starts, I will introduce you, and let him start the session. Thank you.
ಅದೇ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರಿ ಪೇಜ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ ಅರುಣ ನೋಡ್ಕೋ ಇದು ಪೆಂಡ್ರೈವ್
Okay, sir. Sorry for consuming your valuable time. The another resource person, Professor L. Raja, might be busy because he is away from the station and maybe busy and may not be attending this program. So I have tried for him on his suggestion because he told me to remind him over a phone call so that he will join and he would like to extend his he wants to he would like to extend his message to us, but unfortunately we missed him because maybe because of the internet connection or some other problem which might be affected him not to attend this program. So I am very much sorry for the inconvenience caused to you. This year's the topic this year's theme for International Literacy Day coined by the UNESCO is transforming literacy learning spaces, gender perspectives, and transforming literacy learning spaces. I have coined the gender perspectives also because I belongs to the Women Studies Center. So all the things which I would like to take over must be on the gender issues or gender related issues and being in a women's university. And also this is transforming literacy learning spaces is nothing but we need to access the layman and at his convenient time or space we need to literate him. So because of the pandemic all the people all the people lives and economies everything went down. So we need to promote literacy among the people, and also we need to promote economy of the layman, so that we can achieve the national development, which is very much necessary for the pace of development of the country also. So the keeping in view of these issues, social issues, health issues, gender issues, and also the low levels of the living standards, we need to promote literacy, and these literacy need to be reached to the common man, and reached to the neo-literate, and reached to the illiterate persons still existing in the globe. Hence, we need to transform our modes of delivery, modes of content according to their needs and necessities. Hence, the UNESCO has coined these transforming literacy learning spaces. So, with this, I would like to conclude this session with your permission. And after proposing the vote of thanks for today's webinar, I will post the feedback link in the chat boxes. So all of you, request you to fill the feedback link, and after filling this feedback link, your certificate, e-certificate is attached with the feedback link. So I request you to fill the feedback link after which will be posted after my proposing of a vote of thanks. Thank you so much. It is a privilege and a great honor to me to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of the Women's Studies Center. First of all, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Jamuna Madam, for her guidance and long-lasting encouragement and support in elevating our center. I would like to express my gratitude to Professor D.M. Mamata Garu, Registrar, for her constant support to the center staff in organizing the programs and for their valuable suggestions time to time. Thank you, Madam. And it's my pleasure to express my sincere thanks to our Dean, Professor Anuradha Madam, for her congenial presence and presence. I would like to thank the resource person of the today, Professor Purnima Jain from Dayalbagh Education Institute for her spectacular lecture. A special thanks is extended to our head in charge, Dr. Neeraja, the organizing secretary.
Okay.
And also I would like, pardon? Also, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to all the staff, both teaching and non-teaching, belonging to Women's Studies Department and Women's Studies Center for their support in organizing this national webinar. Last but not least, I would like to thank all the participants of the webinar, without whose participation and support this program would not have been succeeded. I am also thankful to all the supporters directly and indirectly who supported us. Once again, thank you one and all. And the feedback link will be posted in the chat box very shortly. And also, I would like to, I would like to advise all our participants to fill their names and email IDs very carefully, without spell check, without the spelling mistakes and other things. Then only you will get your e-certificate. Because who are in a academic circle, they need to have this certificate as a token of their recognition of the attending the program. Hence, I request you to fill the feedback link very carefully. I have posted the feedback link in the chat box. Please go through it. Thank you one and all for attending this program. Sir Krishna Reddy sir, Suryanarayan sir, thank you so much for attending the program, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And all the participants, I must be very thankful to you for your encouragement and support extending to me. Sonu Kumar ji and Anji, Kalpana Kumari, all the participants. Thank you so much. If I could not mention all your names, please pardon me, but please feel that I have thanked you all. Thank you so much. I have pasted my feedback link both in YouTube and also in the Zoom links. So please, I request you to fill the feedback links.